to The Shoreline, brought to you by Shores and Islands, Ohio, where finding your Lake Erie love is a sure thing. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Jill Bauer, PR Manager for Shores and Islands, Ohio, and we bring you The Shoreline every week to give you the inside scoop on what's happening here in our island and coastal communities. Well, welcome back to a very chilly January here in Shores and Islands, Ohio, but we're getting through good. I hope you tuned in last week to meet my friend Mike Mixon from Six Kids, One Tank. He had some amazing travel and money-saving tips for families, or anyone really, on a budget. And he shared his favorite spots in Shores and Islands, Ohio. So as you plan out your 2026 travel, be sure to plan your visits to our region, whether it's for a special event, family vacation, a special occasion celebration, or even for business or to watch your kids play sports. Plan a visit to Shores and Islands, Ohio today. And this is coming out on Martin Luther King Day, a very important day in American history, which ties so nicely to our main topic for today, which is America's 250th birthday celebration and how our region is commemorating and celebrating. But first, I need to do a quick rundown of some events that are coming up before the end of the month for anyone local listening or anyone coming in on a winter break or planning a cozy getaway. Winter at the Oast at Twin Oast Brewery continues with an illuminated light trail, a sledding hill, and specialty drinks, along with their amazing igloo rentals. Those are available daily beginning at 4 p.m. throughout the rest of the month. The Parks District of Ottawa County and the Elmore Historical Society are hosting a hot cocoa walk on January 24th at Depot Park in Elmore with all kinds of family activities, historical tours, and of course, cocoa. There is a time traveler history talk as part of our America 250 programming happening at our Sandusky Welcome Center on the 27th. You'll hear more about that one from today's guest in just a minute. And finally, don't miss out on the deliciousness that is the 24th Annual Firefighters Chili Cook-Off on January 31st at Sawmill Creek Resort in Huron. Here, several local fire departments will be competing for the title of Best Local Chili while raising money for their departments and supporting first responders. Chili really does hit the spot in our cold winter weather. As always, you can find the details on all of these events and planning your winter fun at shoresandislands.com. Well, let's get into our main topic for today's episode. I've already alluded to the America 250 historical celebrations taking place all year throughout the region, the state of Ohio, and all over the nation. Of course, locally here in Shores and Islands as well. So I've invited two of my favorite history buffs to join me today to break it down for us. Both have previously appeared on the Shoreline before. Both are part of the Shores and Islands Destination Development and Experience team as visitor experience managers. Angie George runs our Sandusky Welcome Center and manages the travel counselor team there. And Brian Shiplet runs our Port Clinton Welcome Center and manages the travel counselors at that Welcome Center. Both are our resident local history experts. You may have read their Time Traveler series on the Lake Erie Love blog. And they even spend their out-of-work time as history educators, often leading discussions or acting as historical reenactors through their North Coast Narrative Ohio History Group. Welcome back to the Shoreline, Angie and Brian.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Again, you guys are our local history experts, when it comes to when guests come in and ask about the history of the area, or if somebody calls, or, even when media calls me and asks me historical things, you guys are are my resources. You are the ones we go to. I know that, not only do you have a passion for it, but you're very, very knowledgeable about the region. So it's, of course, ideal that you guys both got involved in the America 250 commemorations for our respective counties, Ottawa County and Erie County. But let's start with the big picture. So tell us, for those that maybe are, just waking up to 2026, what is America 250 and why is this anniversary such a meaningful moment for communities like ours and for the nation?
So it's the actual celebration of the 250th anniversary of us becoming independent from England and the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So it's a pretty big deal. 250 years is quite a long time, and it's amazing how many different activities and celebrations are going to happen around the region because of it.
So why is that? I mean, to me, it's obvious, but like just to the listener, why is that important to like small communities or to like a region like ours?
I think for communities like ours, it really gives us a chance to shine a spotlight on local history and the people and places and ideas that help to shape the country. It helps to connect our past with our future, and I think this is really going to be very meaningful for a lot of people.
So one of the things that I've heard a lot about, but I'm sure that the general public isn't aware of, is the monthly themes. And I don't know if that's just an Ohio thing, but we've kind of been given some things that the different communities throughout the state of Ohio are going to be commemorating or celebrating or focusing on each month. And, we're going to do that on our blog as well. I know you guys are continuing to write things for the Time Traveler series. And I'm sure Megan will be posting some of those themes on the social media tabs as well. Are you guys familiar with what those monthly themes are, how they came to be, and kind of how they're going to work throughout the year?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's just a guideline for everybody to be able to plan events around to America 250. Kind of helps lay a roadmap for when you're planning.
Our two counties, Erie County and Ottawa County, are each offering and promoting some new tours. They're very different, but also very complementary. So let's start with Brian and let's talk about the Ottawa County History Mystery Tour, how it works, how it becomes interactive, and what's the story behind History Mystery.
Sure. So we started our committee actually all the way back in 2024. And one of the first ideas that we came up with is we wanted to do some kind of tour through the region, some highlighting historical spots in each community around the county. And as we talked through that, we realized that through Shores and Islands, we already have our Shore Explorer, the trails that are on our Bandwango platform. And it seemed like a really good blend to make it gamified. So as you go to the 31 stops, there are questions that you have to answer. All of the answers to the questions are somewhere on the building or on a historical sign at the spot. So you answer those questions and you get points. Once you get 1,500 points, so 15 different stops, you can earn an Ottawa County America 250 patch. We decided to name it History Mystery, partially because there's a little bit of a search to answer the questions, but also as the committee was going through things, and most of us have been lifelong residents or very long time residents of Ottawa County, we were discovering historical tidbits and historical information that we didn't even know about. And I've studied quite a bit of local history, or tried to. So the mystery part was there's things that this trail will take you to places that you probably would not venture on your own necessarily.
So you mentioned there's 31 different stops. The idea is, maybe we should probably start with this, is I guess it's not really a download, but you sign in to the Bandwango platform that we are using at shoresandislands.com. You can find both of these tours that we're going to talk about under the America 250 tab at shoresandislands.com. And it's an easy sign up, right? I think it's just first name, last name, email address.
Email and phone. Yeah, I think that's very easy. Yeah. So the Bandwango platform, it's like you're saying, Jill, it's kind of hard to describe because it's not truly an app, right? It's something that is web-based, so you don't have to download anything on your phone. But in order to answer the questions for the History Mystery Trail, you do need to log in or sign into Bandwango to get access to those. If anyone has a real struggle, I'd encourage them to come into the office. And if it's something we just can't get to work, we will have, by the end of the month, we will have the questions available in print form as well, if people do need it.
So similar to other tours that we have throughout Shores and Islands, our Cheers Trail, our Sweet Trail, they require you to enable your location services on your phone and basically check in at each of those locations to show that you visited the location. But what makes this a little bit different from those tours is that there's an interactive element to it. You, as you said, you gamified it.
We gamified it, yeah, and so there are multiple choice questions for each of the 31 locations, and as I said, we tried to make it not totally obvious, but not something you're not going to have to spend an hour at each site trying to find the answer to these questions. They're in fairly visible locations.
That's so awesome. So I downloaded both. I keep saying downloaded. I don't want to misconstrue. It's not an actual download. I signed up for both of these tours so that I have them on my phone. You can save them right to your home screen, so they're easy to check in. And the idea is that you'll follow along, you'll go visit and discover some of these new and interesting places possibly to you, or rediscover something new, like you said, something that you didn't know about that is original to the region, or tells the story of, how the region was developed.
We have things in Ottawa County. One of the things that surprised me a bit is there's actually a marker that marks a spot where French explorers had used to cross from the bay to the lake in the 16th century. So to think that we've had this history of exploration in the region since then is pretty amazing.
Long before.
Yeah, long before the 250 years, yeah.
So similarly, Erie County has put together a tour, Angie, and it is called the Shoreline Stories, Erie County's America 250 Tour. And tell us a little bit about that, and what does it say about Erie County's relationship with Lake Erie and with the America 250 celebration?
Sure. Shoreline Stories is a self-guided America 250 driving tour, and it highlights historic sites across Erie County. And I started on the eastern side when I built this out. I live in Vermilion, so I started in Vermilion, and I tried to pick 3 to 5 locations in each of our communities throughout Erie County. And it's really designed to help people explore the places and the stories that help shape our region's role in American history. Our area, both Erie and Ottawa counties, is so rich in history. We're very fortunate to have a lot of history here, and it's really interesting history. And it's not just people history, it's also geologic history. One of my favorite spots on the trail is on Kelly's Island. The glacial grooves are there, and the state of Ohio completely redid the boardwalk around it and made it very accessible. But when they redid the boardwalk around the glacial grooves, they also added a trail that goes from the glacial grooves behind through the quarry, and then it leads to the Crusher House. And if you don't know anything about the quarrying history of Kelly's Island, that trail is really, really cool. And it's also nature-based too. They transplanted lakeside daisies, which are endangered, over on Kelly's Island on the land where the quarry used to be. Lakeside daisies, as Brian knows, grows on an alvar. And because of the quarry, it's sort of a man-made alvar. So they got the idea, let's try to plant these and see if they'll grow on the man-made alvar, since they grow in a natural alvar. And you know what? It totally worked. And so now there's lakeside daisies. So you get history, you also get nature, you get to be out in the fresh air, you get to go on an island, which, is special. I think it's special.
we all think it's special. I can confirm that is an amazing hike. It's not a hard hike either, so anybody can do it. It's relatively easy, and the reward is there, right? Because you get to see the glacial grooves either before or after, depending on which direction you're going. But let's assume you start at the glacial grooves and then take the little trail down into the quarry. The payoff then at the end is you end up at the Stone Crusher House, which is a really cool artifact, building to see. And then it leads right out to the beach as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the beach is right there. So yeah, there's Vermilion, Birmingham, which is a small little community. They have a beautiful garden there, Sheffley Garden. Otto Sheffley started this garden in the 1920s, and now it's a Lorain County Metro Park. He donated the land in his will to the Lorain County Metro Parks. Even though it's in Erie County, it's managed by Lorain County because it's right on the border there, right on the cusp, but it's beautiful and it's free. All the sites are accessible on the trail. They're all free to go to, except for the cost, of course, taking the ferry over to Kelly's Island. But those points are worth more. So when you check into a location on Kelly's Island, I build it so the point value is worth more, so it makes it a little bit more worth going over there.
That's how you gamified the Erie County version
Yes,
of it. Yeah. The payoff is there as far as the points that you're earning as well. So I love that. Both tours are self-guided tours. So why do you guys think that was important to create, for these tours?
Well, I think for both of us, I could say we have so much history. It's a lot of stops. So it's not something that we're expecting people to do in one day or even 2 days. It's something people can do throughout the whole year. With 31 stops on ours, and sorry, Angie, I can't remember how many are on yours off the top of
35.
my head.
That's okay. We have 35.
So yeah, we have over 30 in both trails. That's a lot of stops. So we wanted people to be able to do it on their leisure time, and things like the Schlefly Gardens, or we have Shadell Gardens on our Ottawa County History Mystery Tour. Some of these spots you may want to spend some more time exploring. So we didn't want people to feel rushed, and we wanted them to be able to just do that on their own and own pace.
Absolutely. And I think that's very important as well. Anybody can do this, and they can spend as much or as little time doing it, right? I mean, if they spend the whole year checking in, maybe you visit one new place a week, or, if you're from outside of the area, maybe you're going to come multiple times, and each time you come, you discover a couple of different spots along the way. What is I keep using the word payoff, but you can actually earn something for participating in these trails. What is that?
Yeah, so for the Shoreline Stories, if you get 1,200 points, so when you check into a location, you earn points, and the point values are between 100 to 200 points, depending, like I said, if you go to Kelly's, it's worth more. And then when you get 1,200 points, you can stop into the Sandusky Welcome Center, and you get an America 250 patch. It's a 2.5 by 2.5 square patch, and it has the America 250 that our assistant marketing director, Jen, she actually designed the logo for the Erie County one. And so that's really cool. You get a little souvenir.
Fun. And Brian?
Yeah, similarly on our side, we have a patch as well. So if you visit answer 15 of the questions, which hopefully means you visited 15 of the spots, you can stop into the office and redeem through the Bandwango platform. And we have our own patch, which is an Ottawa County America 250 logo. I believe both of them, Erie and Ottawa, are iron-on as well. So you don't have to worry about sewing them onto your jacket or hat or whatever you'd like to put it on. But we wanted to have a nice memento so that people could remember America 250 and hopefully remember some of the cool stops that they got to see on both of the trails.
So I guess this question is for both of you. Who do you see enjoying the trails the most? Do you think this is a family activity? Is this geared towards locals? Is it geared toward visitors? Who do you think is the target, user of these tours?
I really think it's for everyone. It's for families, for history lovers, for locals who want to rediscover the area. Anyone who's looking for a meaningful experience. And like we've mentioned before, you can do it at your own pace. There's no cost to participate. It's very family friendly, something you can do with a group of people or just by yourself if you're just looking for a way to explore the area.
I think we know the history lovers will be all about it, but yeah, I think both of the trails were designed to really be doable by groups of friends, families. Like Angie said, all of the spots are family friendly, so you don't have to worry if you have a big family coming along. All of the places will be accessible for you. So we're really thinking that, this has something enjoyable for almost anyone.
And I should mention, it kind of reminds me of geocaching, which is still very popular, and people are always looking for those places. But if you have the tour on your phone, there are also maps and addresses. You can, click on it and connect you right to your GPS so that you can find each of these locations, it makes it really easy for anyone with a smartphone to be able to explore. You guys have both mentioned some amazing spots, so I'm going to put you to the test again and come up with more. So for each side, start with Brian. Is there, if somebody could only experience one stop, they come in, they're like, okay, where do I go first? How do I start this? Where are you sending them to begin their Ottawa County History Mystery Tour?
That's a good question. I think it might depend on which end of the county they want to start on, but and also maybe what they kind of know about the area already. If people have some knowledge of the area history and kind of the Marblehead Lighthouse or some of the bigger spots, I would probably send them off to the western end of the county. There's a memorial that we have on the trail in Curtis that is for a woman named Victoria Cataract, who was one of the last Native Americans from the region to have lived in the region. At Chippewa Golf Course is actually the land that she owned, but they have a very cool memorial there with her history, which is something I was actually unfamiliar with until we put this tour together.
Oh yeah, okay. So as you're telling me these things, I'm looking them up on the tour. So that's at Crane Creek Cemetery.
Cemetery, which is in Curtis, right on the western end of the county.
And it says that the historical marker at the cemetery notes that she and another Native American individual named Mary Sword are buried there.
Yes.
And Victoria was the last known full-blooded Native American in Ohio. What? Yeah, so some curious things. Another site I will point out for Ottawa County that maybe people aren't aware of is the Old School Privy.
Amazing, yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that as well, Brian?
So the Old School Privy is one of, I believe I read 3 historic outhouses that are on the National Register of Historic Places. It is in Genoa, and it is actually rather surprisingly fancy for what you might think of as an outhouse. So it's a very interesting stop, and who knew outhouses were on the Register of Historic Places?
Yeah, there aren't very many public bathrooms that are part of the
that are historically notable.
I think we need to put that one in for the Super Bowl awards this year.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, so back to Angie. I know you've already mentioned a couple of really fun spots, but are there any spots in Erie County that really, are you've got to see this? This is the one place I'm going to send you if you can only pick 1 or 2 places.
I mean, when you think about history in this area, Milan, of course, is a no-brainer. Thomas Edison's birthplace is there. The Milan Museum is also a lovely museum with a lot of history there. The Milan Canal, a lot of people don't realize that there was a canal in Milan, and they actually built ships there, which is kind of wild because it's not exactly right on the lake.
Anymore.
Anymore. But it's really interesting there. There's also a trail. Can you tell I love nature? There's a trail that walks you through where the towpath was for the canal in Milan. But Milan is awesome, and a lot of people know about it, but places that you don't necessarily know or think about, like Castilia and Bayview, also have a lot of history. Bayview had the first bridge that went over the Sandusky Bay, and their town hall right now was the first state highway patrol office in the state of Ohio.
Oh,
so that's kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at that, the Bayview Village Hall. I honestly, looking at because it's historical photos that you guys used in the tour, I don't know where that is. So I would assume it's right on Bayview Drive. Okay, yes, it's on Bayview Drive. And is it still currently the Village Hall?
It is, yeah. They still use it as municipal offices, yes.
And part of the bridge is still there as well, right? You can go out a certain distance, and a lot of people fish there. And
yeah, there's a fishing bridge there. It's beautiful for sunsets. And when the bridge first opened, it opened in the 1920s, and it was a toll road because the amount of money that it cost to maintain that bridge and the cost of construction was astronomical, and so they had to charge a toll for it, and it needed monitored. So that's where the State Highway Patrol came into play.
Yeah, and it says the State Highway Patrol was founded in 1933, which help make Ohio's highways safer through traffic enforcement, accident prevention, and public safety initiatives. So I had no idea. That's very
Yeah.
cool that was started right here in Erie County. Wow. So yeah, there's always something new and interesting to learn along the way with all of these tours. And again, I also kind of consider myself somewhat familiar with at least the Erie County side of it. I've spent more of my life in Erie County, and there's so many things on this list that I have no idea what they are, and I can't wait to check them out because that's it's really really interesting that you yeah, and that you have found 35 different sites that, all kind of speak to the story of what made the Shores and Islands region what it is. So beyond the tours, guys, America 250 is more than just history. It's also about community. We're going to be promoting and even putting on some of our own America 250 related events throughout the season, or throughout the whole year, I guess I should say. So, what America 250 related events or programs do you guys have that people should be looking forward to? Let's start in Ottawa County, Brian. What America 250 events do you guys have planned for the year that we should have on our radar?
We've had a great response in Ottawa County with people planning events. If I believe you can find it on our America 250 page, the link to the Ottawa County Historical Society's page. There is an entire year-long program guide that you can download. There's still a few things to be added, so that will be completely done in March, but everything on there right now is already planned. There are a couple interesting events happening where we are honoring and marking the grave sites of the 5 Revolutionary War veterans that are buried here in Ottawa County. So there's one going to be in Marblehead at, I believe, Sackett Cemetery, and another one in Elmore. So those are some pretty cool events. In July, towards the end of the Ottawa County Fair, the theme for July is picnics. So there will be a countywide picnic happening at the Ottawa County Fairgrounds. So that will be pretty exciting. And then there's a couple planned events that we're working on some details. That'll be at the Welcome Center. I'm working with Jana Wilson at the Parks District, and we're going to have some historical craft days. So keep a lookout for that information coming out pretty soon here.
And one more, next week on the Shoreline podcast, we'll be talking with Wendy Chambers from Put-in Bay Chamber of Commerce, and they have a pretty big event.
Yes, how could I forget the Declaration 250? So as one of the biggest events probably happening in the county, and that is in August, they are going to recreate the signing of the Declaration. They've invited all sorts of politicians and celebrities, and it's going to be a huge event for the region.
Wow. So that is coming up in August. Let's shift over, Angie, to Erie County. And in fact, we have an event coming up, I think, in the next couple of weeks at our Welcome Center. And aren't you planning monthly talks at the Welcome Center?
Yes. So our Time Traveler blog series that you mentioned earlier, we're going to write about each of the monthly themes, but we're also going to tie those themes into having guest speakers come to the Welcome Center in Sandusky. So every last Tuesday of the month, from 5:30 to 6:30, we're going to have a guest speaker come and talk to us about a topic related to those monthly themes. So the blogs and the speaker series, they're going to correlate together.
That's really fun. And we have one that's coming up on January 27th. So why don't you give us some details on that one?
Sure. Ron Davidson from Sandusky Library, he will be here on January 27th from 5:30 to 6:30. And he's going to give you an overview of the history of the region. So he's going to explore early settlers, the little early settlements of Sandusky, the Firelands area, and explain what Firelands means for those of you who don't know, and also talk about the Lake Erie Islands history. So it'll be pretty interesting, I think. And we'll have refreshments too. So if you're hungry,
no charge to attend those events.
Correct. Yeah, you don't have to register. You don't have to pay anything. You just show up.
The theme for January, again, is?
It's Ohio Firsts.
Firsts. There is a blog that we just posted last week on the shoresandislands.com. Just click on blog. You can see it both if you click on the Time Traveler series or just on the main blog page. That is all about that monthly theme. And then there's another, we talked about the real big event in Ottawa County. One of the bigger events that's happening in Erie County is actually happening next month. And it coincides with Thomas Edison's birthday, which I think is very cool. So tell me, Angie, what do you know about the Mylan Goes to the Movies event?
Yep, Mylan Goes to the Movies is actually being held on Thomas Edison's birthday, which is February 11th, and it's part of the bigger Ohio 250 initiative called Ohio Goes to the Movies, and it's going to be a really big deal. They're going to show historic movies there at the Mylan Town Hall. So if you haven't been in the Mylan Town Hall building, the upper level is just this big, beautiful, I think it might have originally been a ballroom at one point, but there's a stage in there. It's just a really cool setting for something like this. They're going to show 3 movies. Frankenstein from 1910, Jack and the Beanstalk from 1902, and Alice in Wonderland, which was also filmed in 1910. So it's going to be really cool.
That ties to Edison how? For those that don't know.
Thomas Edison had a groundbreaking role in motion pictures. He invented the motion picture camera, or at least contributed to the invention of the motion picture camera and helped develop it. So
we would not have Netflix today if it weren't for Thomas Edison. We'd all be sitting in the dark and not watching movies. So what I think is really cool about, you mentioned the statewide initiative, the Ohio Goes to the Movies, is that I think almost every county in Ohio is having some kind of event this year that relates to either a movie that is set in the state of Ohio or stars an actor that's from the state of Ohio or was made by a director that was born in the state of Ohio, or, it has some kind of ties to the state of Ohio. And I mean, I'm surprised we're not having another Tommy Boy Fest.
Yeah, that would be perfect, wouldn't it?
Again, set in Ohio, not actually filmed here. but lots of fun. So, okay, so guys, finally, for our listeners who are ready to jump in and want to consume all the America 250 content and they want to learn more about the tours, what's your advice for making the most of the experience this year?
I think the first thing is to sign up for the Bandwango passes so that you can start doing the tours. I would encourage anyone that's doing them to try and hit as many of the sites as possible. You'll get such a breadth of knowledge of the local history from even more than the last 250 years. And I think also for Ottawa County, check out the program guide, since there are so many different local events happening. Everything from Oak Harbor Library has a lot of really, really fascinating history talks happening about just the Oak Harbor region. Lakeside and the whole Marblehead Peninsula have huge plans for a 4th of July celebration. So just keep your eyes peeled for all of those extra events. I think more are going to pop up as we go through the year as well.
Angie, anything to add?
Yeah, I think a really great resource is our website, shoresandislands.com. Under the events tab, we have an America 250 tab. And right there are both of our shoreline stories and the History Mystery driving tour with instructions on how to sign up for those through our Shore Explorer program or platform. In our travel guide this year, we're also featuring some things on America 250, including the Snap the Past. It's a selfie hunt, which is really going to be a lot of fun. And it gives you little teasers in the travel guide, and then it directs you to the website for the full list of where all the selfie locations are. And then we have on there the America 250. U.S. Route 250 has a trail that ties into America 250. And if you want to know more, that's also on the website. And then I see the Revolutionary War soldiers' graves that Brian mentioned earlier is listed on there too. So it's definitely a lot of information. And all of the America 250 events are at the bottom. So if you scroll, just keep scrolling down the page and you'll see all the events. So if you are interested in our history talks at the Welcome Center, or the Ohio Goes to the Movies, or the big celebration on Put-in-Bay, those are definitely good places to check out for more information.
Yeah, so all the America 250 info for our region is in one place. We also have links to the statewide tours, like the Ohio Air and Space Trail, the Lake Erie to Ohio River Trail, the Ohio Creativity Trail. And I think there's 2 more trails coming yet this year to be added to that. And we in Shores and Islands have a lot of locations that are part of that trail, but those will take you all over the state as well. So you can, explore outside of the region. And then, of course, make sure you take advantage of our 2 tours that we talked about today. Again, the History Mystery Ottawa County America 250 tour and the Shoreline Stories Erie County's America 250 tour. Hopefully you guys are intrigued, our listeners are intrigued, and will want to take part. And again, as Brian mentioned, if you have any trouble figuring out how to get that, on your phone, stop by one of our welcome centers. Angie and Brian and their teams are happy to assist and, give you tips on places to go and things to see. And while you're participating in these tours, where you can grab a bite to eat and where, where you can see some amazing nature areas like Angie mentioned. So do stop by our welcome centers while you're participating in these tours, because we've got experts there who are super familiar with the region and super familiar with these tours as well, and happy to get you started. Or when you finish, come back and see us and get your commemorative patch.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys both for joining us today. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to all kinds of fun this year as it relates to America 250. So again, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you, Jill.
Special thanks to Shores and Islands Ohio Visitor Experience Managers Angie George and Brian Shiflett for joining me today. And as always, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed our podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a minute of the action here in Shores and Islands, Ohio. You can also find more information, including past episodes of the podcast, online at shoresandislands.com. And we will see you next time on The Shoreline.